The most recent Nintendo Direct gave us something that a lot of people have been asking for: new systems added to the Nintendo Switch Online service. With the inclusion of the Game Boy Advance to the service, one of the initial games included is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Now, this is fantastic because I feel like it's a game that a lot of people haven't played, myself included, until recently. Now, the issue is the timing. I was about 14 hours into my playthrough on the Wii U through the Virtual Console when the Direct presentation aired. So now that I beat the game, let's go over the highs and lows of the game and where I think Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga should be in your backlog. The first thing you're going to notice is the visuals. And being played through the Wii U and blown up on a TV, I think the game looks really good. I did play the entire game on my TV, but you could absolutely play the game handheld on the Wii U gamepad if you want, and it would look just as good. The tone of the game is a bit more comedic and cartoony when compared to more mainline Mario games, but it works incredibly well. The game has bright and vibrant colors, great character animations, and pretty good detail all throughout the game, especially considering the game's age. There's a good range of different locations all throughout the game. From towns and castles to forests and beaches, everywhere had distinct looks to them. It didn't matter if you were underground or underwater, I think the game's visual aesthetic worked extremely well. Another fantastic aspect of all the different locations was the music that went along with them. I thought the music was incredibly catchy. From remixes of classic Mario tunes to new songs, the music always fit the moment. The game has no full voice acting, but there are some small snippets of Mario saying a line or catchphrase. But that's totally fine because the combination of the music and the character animations really helps sell the moment being played out, and I think it worked just fine. The tone of the game as a whole, while obviously they go on a big adventure to save the day, is actually rather lighthearted. Yes, there are moments that include the enemies destroying a town or something of that nature, but for the most part, there's comedy included into every dialogue exchange. From characters trying to figure out who Mario and Luigi are, to taking a passport photo and making a silly face, the game definitely makes sure to keep up with the goofy overall tone it wants to portray. That goofy and lighthearted tone really comes across the most from all the different characters you're going to run into. They all have quite a lot of personality and charm, especially considering it's done through text boxes. But the main crux of the game, what you're actually going to be doing in terms of gameplay, is a combo of overworld puzzles and combat. So, let's start off with the combat. The combat is a turn-based style mixed with timing mechanics. Now, I know a lot of people think turn-based combat can be boring and stale, but the game never allows that to be the case. From the Mario staple of jumping on the enemy to using a hammer to bash the enemy and the inclusion of combo attacks, there's a decent variety of attacks that can be performed. Every attack done by the player, as well as defense moves, has a timing mechanic that gives the player a bonus, and getting the timing just right takes a good amount of practice. When it comes to your attacks, timing is key. But also knowing which enemies are weak to which attacks and which are immune can be a big factor in how a battle plays out. If you see an enemy with a spike on their head, it's probably best to avoid jumping on them. If they're flying, you probably can't reach them from the ground. This helps keep the game from feeling like you can just mash the A button and stomp everything in sight. Over the course of the game, you'll end up getting more attacks under the name Bro attacks. These combo attacks have a sequence of button presses, and when done correctly can do massive damage, but if done incorrectly can do even less damage than a regular jump attack. They also have 3 levels to them. The higher the level, the more difficult they are to perform, but the more damage they can potentially do. Both Mario and Luigi have different sets of bro attacks, giving the player plenty of options to pick from. They can also learn attacks based off of fire and thunder, which adds the extra layer of understanding which enemies are weak to which can potentially be healed by their respective attacks. But the combat isn't just attacking. Every enemy attack gives you the opportunity to either dodge or counter, and again, these are timing based. You need to either time it perfectly to avoid taking damage, or to counterattack the enemy. Every attack from every enemy will give you a subtle clue as to when the attack will strike, and if it will aim at either Mario or Luigi. These hints can be something like the enemy jumping high or low right before attacking, and it's up to you to figure out if the high jump means the target is Mario or Luigi. This type of combat is extremely engaging and can allow fights to be extremely different. If you figure out your timing relatively fast, you can evade essentially every attack in a particular fight. If your timing is off or you don't understand the hints, even the simplest of enemies can potentially do a lot of damage. All of these attacks are also visually different and interesting, which helps keep the game visually engaging. But combat isn't the entire game. Throughout the game, you're going to be adventuring throughout a wide range of locations, each with their own enemy types. A lot of these enemies can be skipped as you can avoid running into them, but that doesn't mean they also won't seek you out. You can also initiate the fight, which can give you an advantage right when the combat begins. But if you avoid the fights or you've taken out all the enemies in the area, you'll be able to run around these different locations, talking to the locals or solving different puzzles. As you run around, you can either have Mario or Luigi lead your party, and you'll need to regularly switch who's in front depending on the task you're trying to accomplish. They both have the abilities to jump and swing their hammers outside of combat, but each one has special moves they can also perform. Actions like Luigi performing a high jump off of Mario can allow you to reach higher grounds, whereas Mario's spin can allow you to travel over large gaps. The puzzles need you to read the terrain and understand what you might need to do in order to accomplish the task. Between Mario and Luigi, you can use high jumps, spin jumps, fire, and thunder to solve the puzzles, as well as your hammers to change the size of either character, allowing them to go underneath walls or into the ground to get past obstacles. The world is full of puzzles, and you're going to be constantly doing something fun, which helps keep the exploration from getting stale. While you're exploring the game, you're going to come across a tremendous amount of references to Mario or Nintendo. From older music being remixed to lines like "Now you're playing with power," the game feels like it's designed to make you feel nostalgic for something that was new at the time. From having the original arcade game in the main menu to enemies based off of the viruses from Dr. Mario, everything in the game feels like it's designed to make you go, "Oh, that's cool they did that." Adding that type of nostalgia can easily make a player feel more comfortable playing the game, especially if this isn't the genre of game they typically play. But even with all this nostalgia and engaging gameplay, it doesn't mean the game is perfect. I personally had an issue when I was in the overworld. I would consistently have Mario or Luigi do the wrong action. Yes, it's as simple as having the right one set in the moment, but because you're constantly changing which action needs to be taken, along with which character is in the lead, it can start to be rather confusing, especially when switching the lead changes the buttons. So I was constantly hitting the wrong thing. Whichever character is in the lead would be the A button. Sounds simple, but I would be thinking Mario is A and Luigi is B. But when Luigi is in the lead, my instinct would still be to hit the B button. But now, that's Mario's action button. While this never led me to being attacked or anything I wasn't ready for, it made timed puzzles that involved switching characters more difficult than they should have been, although it also created hilarious combos of me just doing the wrong actions over and over again. Aside from me wasting a ton of time constantly switching my characters and their action buttons, I found some of the puzzles throughout the overworld to be way more frustrating than they needed to be, especially the timed ones. Needing to hit a switch and run across a bridge or something before it disappears often gave zero room for error, which made a lot of simple puzzles take multiple tries. The good thing is that most puzzles weren't repeated very often, and there wasn't a lot of backtracking that required you to do it over and over again. If the puzzle was timed and frustrating, but ended up unlocking the door would stay unlocked forever, allowing you to backtrack if you wanted to without needing to repeat the puzzle. I also found the story to have some weird turns in it. I'm not going to elaborate too much as I don't enjoy giving story spoilers, and the story as a whole was fine and a decent enough reason to go on the adventure. But I did feel like there was some unnecessary twists and turns that kind of made me go, so what was the point in all that? So with all those issues taken into account, along with all the highs the game provides, the question is, where in your backlog should Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga be? And well, I think it should be at the top of your backlog. Sure, there are some frustrating puzzle designs and you might feel like you're going crazy constantly hitting the wrong action button on the wrong player all throughout the world, but the core concept of the gameplay is fantastic. The timing mechanic within the combat is used extremely well and it prevents the game from ever getting tiring. The silly tone of the game along with the nostalgia within the music, the recognizable characters, and Nintendo Easter egg references keeps a smile on your face the entire way through. Even though it was slightly too late for me as I played it on the Wii U, if you've been debating on giving it a try, I say you should go for it, especially now that the game has been added to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. And there we have it, where I think Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga should be in your backlog. Let me know down below if you plan on giving the game a try now that it's out on the Switch Online service. And if you want to know where another game on the service should be in your backlog, then check out my video on the Minish Cap right here.